All right, let's just jump right in. We're going to break down what might be the single most important first step to any real, lasting change in your life. And the secret? Well, it's found in this incredible paradox, learning what it actually means to be poor in spirit.
You know that feeling, right? That sense that you're just spinning your wheels. You want so badly to move forward, but you feel like you're stuck in the mud. You put in all the effort, you've got the desire, but that deep, meaningful transformation you're looking for, it always seems to be just beyond your fingertips. That's a really common and honestly a super frustrating feeling.
And this search for change, it's woven into the very fabric of who we are. I mean, think about it. We see it every January with New Year's resolutions. We see it in the massive billion-dollar self-help industry. And we even see it in huge cultural shifts, like the counterculture of the 1960s. That was a whole generation just desperate for a new way to live.
So where can we find a real answer? Well, the Sermon on the Mount offers us a starting point. But it kicks off with a statement that seems to turn everything we think we know about success and progress completely on its head. Blessed are the poor in spirit. Just let that sink in for a second. In a world that screams at us to be strong, to be confident, to be rich in every possible way, this statement sounds, well, it sounds completely backward, doesn't it? So this is the big question we've got to unpack. If this is the key that unlocks everything else, then we have to understand what in the world Jesus was actually talking about. So let's do this. Let's break it down, word by word. Okay, first up, that word poor. The Greek word used here, ptochos, isn't about being on a tight budget or having a tough month. No, this word describes absolute, utter destitution. It's the kind of poverty that brings you to your knees, where you have absolutely nothing left. The great scholar William Barclay puts it perfectly. He says it describes absolute and abject poverty. This is the state of having zero resources of your own to draw from. You are completely dependent. Now, for the second part of the phrase. The word for spirit here is the Greek pneuma. It refers to your inner person, your breath, your very life force. For us, in our modern language, the closest and simplest word we have for this is just the self. So, you put those two ideas together, and suddenly it clicks. To be poor in spirit means to be destitute of self. It means coming to the place where you recognize that, spiritually speaking, on your own, you bring nothing to the table. I love how the theologian John Stott puts it. He says it's about acknowledging our spiritual bankruptcy. It's like admitting you don't have the funds to pay your own debts or fix your biggest problems. You're broke. Now, hold on, because we have to make a really important distinction here. This is not, and I repeat, not about having low self-esteem. It's not about thinking you're worthless. It's actually about radical honesty. It's about seeing your true condition clearly, without all the ego and self-reliance we usually use to prop ourselves up.
Which, of course, brings us to the million-dollar question. Why on earth would Jesus call this state of total spiritual bankruptcy a blessed thing? I mean, it seems like the exact opposite of a blessing, right?
And here's the beautiful logic behind this paradox. See, most of us walk through life with our hands completely full of our own plans, our own pride, our own accomplishments. But here's the thing. God can't put anything into hands that are already clenched tight around something else. Being poor in spirit, well, that's the act of opening and emptying your hands.
Because it is only when your hands are finally empty that you can actually receive what's being offered. And the promise here is just staggering. Notice the tense. It doesn't say there's will be. It says there's is, present tense, right now, the kingdom of heaven.
So this is it. This is the central paradox of the spiritual life. The very moment you truly admit that in and of yourself you have nothing, that is the moment you're put in a position to receive everything.
Okay, that sounds amazing in theory. But what does it actually look like? What does it mean to possess the kingdom right here, right now, in the middle of our messy, complicated, everyday lives? This verse from Luke gives us such a huge clue. Just notice that the kingdom isn't something we earn or build or achieve. It's a gift. It is the Father's good pleasure to give it to you. That just changes the entire dynamic from one of striving to one of simply receiving. And having this kingdom perspective, it changes everything. It means we don't have to live in a constant state of panic and worry because we can rest in the care of a king who is in control. Our struggles don't magically disappear, but our relationship to them fundamentally changes because we realize we're living inside his kingdom under his care. So you see, being poor in spirit isn't just item number one on some spiritual to-do list.
It's the whole foundation. It's the doorway into a completely different reality, one where you finally stop trying to build your own tiny little kingdom and instead receive a far greater one as a gift. Which leaves all of us with one final, very simple question to think about. As you go about the rest of your day, just ask yourself this: what are you clinging to so tightly? What's in your hands that might be keeping you from receiving everything?